Jake Reaper Sullivan never imagined that a routine ride home would turn into the most emotional night of his life. Out of the crowd came a small girl, trembling, crying, refusing to let him leave. At first he thought she was lost, but when she began pulling him urgently toward the alley, the biker sensed something was terribly wrong. What he discovered hidden in the darkness left him breathless. A heartbreaking fight for survival. A mother's silent plea and a determination so pure it would bring him to his knees. This was no ordinary encounter. It was a miracle in disguise. The sun hung low over the city skyline, casting long amber shadows across the grimy streets of downtown. The biker adjusted his leather vest as he kicked down the stand on his Harley. It had been a long day at the garage, nothing but oil changes and brake jobs. He exhaled deeply, ready to head back to his apartment after hours of wrenching on stubborn engines. But just as he turned the ignition key, something caught his attention. A small figure moving between the evening crowd. From the edge of the sidewalk, a tiny form appeared. A girl, no more than 8 years old, with tangled dark hair and eyes that glistened with unshed tears. Her clothes were worn and dirty, her face smudged with grime. The biker froze. Kids weren't a common sight in this part of town at dusk, especially not wandering alone. He killed the engine and swung his leg off the bike, his boots hitting the pavement with a heavy thud. "Hey, kiddo," he called out, his voice gravelly but cautious. "You okay? Where's your folks?" To his surprise, the child didn't run. Instead, she walked straight toward him, her small frame trembling. She stopped just a few feet away and let out the softest whimper. Something about that sound made his chest tighten. It was the sound of pure desperation. He crouched down to her level, his bearded face trying its best to look non-threatening. "Where's your parents, little one?" Before he could say more, the girl spun around and took several hurried steps toward a dark alley, then stopped, looking back. She reached out her tiny hand and tugged at his vest with surprising urgency. Then she pulled harder, her small voice breaking through. "Please, help! Mama needs help, please!" Those words hit the biker like a punch to the gut. This wasn't a lost child. This little girl desperately needed something, and for reasons he couldn't explain, he felt compelled to follow. "All right," he said softly. "Show me where." The child grabbed his hand with both of hers, pulling with all her tiny strength. They moved past shuttered storefronts and graffiti-covered walls, deeper into the industrial district. The girl moved with confidence, never hesitating. She'd made this journey before, he realized. Many times. They approached a narrow alley between two crumbling warehouses. The biker hesitated at the darkness, every instinct screaming caution. "In there?" he asked. She nodded, frantically, tears streaming down her dirty cheeks. "Mama, she's sick. She won't wake up right." His heart dropped. He pulled out his phone, turning on the flashlight, and stepped into the alley. The beam revealed scattered debris and the stench of human desperation. The girl moved ahead, navigating obstacles with practiced ease. Then he heard it, a weak cough, followed by a labored, rattling breath. His pulse quickened as the flashlight beam swept across a pile of blankets and cardboard boxes arranged into a crude shelter. "Hello?" the biker called out. The girl dropped to her knees beside the shelter, frantically pulling back a filthy blanket. "Mama, I brought help. I brought someone good, just like you said." The biker stepped closer, his light falling on what lay beneath. His breath caught. A woman lay there, rail-thin, her skin pale as moonlight. Her lips were cracked and bleeding, her hair matted. She was young, maybe late 20s, though hardship had aged her. This wasn't just homelessness. This was someone at death's door. The woman's eyes fluttered open, glassy and unfocused. When her gaze found her daughter's face, something shifted, a flicker of desperate maternal love. Her cracked lips moved, but only a weak wheeze escaped. The child pressed herself against her mother's side, patting her face frantically. "Mama, wake up, please wake up." The biker knelt down, bringing himself closer. The woman's breathing came in short, rattling gasps. He touched her forehead. She was burning up with fever, her skin slick with sweat despite the trembling. "How long has she been like this?" he asked. 3 days, the girl whispered. "Maybe 4. She stopped eating 2 days ago, stopped drinking yesterday. She told me to go find someone good, someone who would help us." Tears pricked his eyes, but he forced them back. Not now. Right now, this woman and child needed him to be strong. "What's your name, sweetheart?" he asked gently. "Lily. And that's my mama, Grace." "Okay, Lily, I'm Reaper. I know it's a scary name, but I'm one of the good guys, and I'm going to do everything I can for your mama." He pulled off his leather vest and wrapped it around the woman's frail shoulders. "Grace, can you hear me? I need you to stay with me. Your daughter needs you. Can you fight a little longer?" The woman's eyes found his, and in that moment, he saw everything. The shame, the desperate love, the exhaustion, and underneath, a flicker of hope. He made a decision. Time was a luxury this woman didn't have. "Lily, I'm going to carry your mama out of here. Stay close to me. Don't let go of my belt." The child nodded, her jaw set with determination. The biker slid his arms beneath the woman's body. When he lifted her, the shock of how light she was hit him hard. She weighed almost nothing. Her head lolled against his chest, and he could feel every labored breath. "I've got you, Grace," he murmured. "Your daughter didn't give up on you, and neither am I." "Lily, grab my belt and don't let go." The child's fist clenched his belt, and together they began the journey back. The biker moved as quickly as he dared. His arms ached, but pain was temporary. This woman's life hung by a thread. He pulled out his phone and called his club brother. "Tommy, 5th and Morrison, now, emergency, bring my truck." "What's going on, brother?" "No time. Just get here. 5 minutes." The minutes until his friend arrived felt like hours. The biker stood on the corner, the woman in his arms, the child pressed against his side. Cars passed by, people walked past, most not even glancing their way. Tommy's truck screeched to a halt. The biker climbed into the back seat, the woman cradled in his lap. Lily scrambled in beside them. "County General, fast!" The truck shot forward, weaving through traffic with reckless urgency. In the back seat, the biker held the woman close, feeling every labored breath. Lily paced back and forth, crying softly. "You're doing great, Grace," he whispered. "Your daughter needs you. Just hold on a little longer." But the woman's breathing grew more irregular. Panic clawed at his throat. "Stay with me," he muttered. "Don't you dare leave that little girl." The hospital's emergency sign appeared like a beacon. Tommy swerved into the lot, brakes screeching. Before the truck stopped, the biker was out, the woman in his arms. Lily ran ahead. "Help! We need help!" the child screamed. "My mama?" The doors slid open, and the biker charged through into harsh fluorescent light. "I need help!" he roared. "She's not breathing right! She's dying!" A nurse looked up, her eyes widening. Then her training kicked in. "Gurney, code blue, now!" 2 orderlies appeared with a stretcher. The medical team swarmed around the woman. An oxygen mask was placed over her face. IVs were started. The gurney began moving toward the interior. Lily tried to follow, but a nurse held her back. "No, Mama, Mama!" The child screamed, fighting against the hold. The biker dropped to one knee, pulling her into his arms. She collapsed against his chest, sobbing. He held her tight, his own eyes burning as he watched the woman disappear behind swinging doors. "She's going to be okay," he whispered, though he had no idea if it was true. "They're taking care of her now." An older nurse approached with a clipboard. She looked at the biker, at the crying child, and made a decision. "Are you family?" The biker looked down at Lily, clinging to him. "Yeah, we're family." The nurse's expression softened. "I need information. The child's name?" "Lily. Lily Rose Martinez." "And the mother is Grace Martinez," the biker added. The nurse scribbled notes, then looked at him with respect. "You did the right thing. Another hour and—" She didn't finish. Hours crawled by in that waiting room. The biker sat in a plastic chair, Lily curled in his lap, finally asleep. He stared at the mint-green walls, at the slow-moving clock. A memory surfaced. He was 8 years old, sitting in a waiting room, waiting for news about his own mother dying of cancer while his father drank. Young Jake had sat alone, terrified, with no one to hold him, no one to tell him it would be okay. His mother had died that night. His father had blamed him, told him he wasn't worth fighting for. For years he'd carried that weight, believing he was broken, unworthy of love or softness. He'd built walls around his heart, joined the club, earned his patches through loyalty and fists. He'd convinced himself that solitude was strength, that needing no one meant no one could hurt him. But looking down at this child who'd placed her trust in a stranger, who'd refused to give up on her mother even when all seemed lost, he realized how wrong he'd been. Strength wasn't about standing alone. It was about showing up when someone needed you, even when you were terrified. He looked down at Lily and felt something crack inside his chest. This little girl had been braver than he'd ever been. She'd gone into a dangerous world alone, searching for help. She'd trusted him. A tear slipped down his cheek. Then another. Years of buried pain flooded out. He bent over Lily and wept silently for the child he'd been, for the mother he'd lost, for the little girl who might lose hers. "Please," he whispered, "don't take her mother. This kid deserves better." Footsteps approached. A doctor in blue scrubs knelt in front of them. The biker gently shook Lily awake. "Lily, honey, the doctor's here." The girl's eyes snapped open. "Mama?" The doctor smiled gently. "Your mama is very, very sick, but she's stable now. We got her here just in time." Relief washed over the biker so intensely he felt lightheaded. Lily burst into tears of joy. "She has a long recovery ahead," the doctor said honestly. "But with treatment, with time, yes, she should recover fully." "Can I see her?" "Soon. She's sleeping now, but you can see her soon." As the doctor left, the biker pulled Lily close. "See? Your mama's a fighter." The child looked up at him. "You saved her." He shook his head. "No, kiddo, you saved her. You were the brave one." Lily was quiet, then asked, "What happens now? Where do we go?" The question hit him hard. When the mother recovered, where would they go? Back to the streets? The system would separate them. Something fierce and protective surged inside him. No, he wouldn't let that happen. "You're not going back to that alley," he said firmly, "and they're not taking you away from your mama. I'll figure something out. I promise." The days that followed settled into a rhythm. The biker spent every spare moment at the hospital, adjusting his shifts at the garage. Lily had been placed in emergency foster care, but he'd made sure she could visit her mother every day, and he was there for every visit. Grace remained in intensive care for the first week, her body slowly fighting back. The biker sat by her, Bedside, sometimes with Lily, sometimes alone. He'd talk to her even when she couldn't respond, telling her about her daughter's day. The nurses began to recognize him, their wariness softening. One even brought him coffee. "You're a good man," she said simply. On the 5th day, Grace woke up. The biker was alone, reading the newspaper aloud. When he looked up and saw her gaze on him, he froze. "Who?" Her voice was a cracked whisper. He moved to her bedside. "Easy. You're in the hospital. You're safe. Lily's safe." At her daughter's name, tears filled her eyes. "Lily. Where is she?" "At school. She's okay. She's been here every day." He paused. "She found me. Led me to you. Saved your life." Grace closed her eyes, tears streaming. "My brave girl." "The bravest," he agreed. She looked at him again, at his tattoos, his vest. "Why did you help us?" He was quiet. "Because someone should have helped me when I was her age, and no one did. Because your daughter looked at me like I was her last hope, and I couldn't walk away." Grace reached out a weak hand, and he took it. "Thank you for not walking away." Over the following weeks, he learned their story. Grace had lost everything: job, apartment, hope. She'd sent Lily out as a desperate last act. "Find someone good," she'd told her daughter. As Grace grew stronger, the biker saw the fear when doctors mentioned discharge. Where would they go? One evening, after Lily fell asleep, Grace pulled him aside. "I don't know how to thank you, but we'll be okay. I'll figure something out." He looked at her determination, despite the fear beneath. He thought about his empty apartment, the spare room. "I have an idea," he said slowly. "Hear me out." When Grace was discharged 3 weeks later, the biker was there with his truck. He'd cleaned out his spare room, bought a bed, hung curtains. Club brothers had donated clothes and toys. Grace stared at the apartment building. "I can't accept this. It's too much." "It's not charity. It's a hand-up. You get back on your feet, find a job, save up, then you move on. But until then, you and Lily have a safe place." Lily bounced excitedly. "Can I really stay here?" He crouched to her level. "If your mama says it's okay." Grace looked between her daughter's hopeful face and his uncertain one. She saw something in this rough man others might miss: fierce protectiveness, gentleness beneath armor, a soul that understood pain. "Okay," she whispered, "but I'll pay you back, every cent." "No rush," he said, and meant it. The first weeks were an adjustment. The biker, used to living alone, suddenly shared space with an 8-year-old and her recovering mother. Grace insisted on cleaning even while recovering, determined to contribute something. Lily left toys scattered everywhere, filled the apartment with laughter and questions, transformed the sterile space into something alive. But slowly, carefully, they found a rhythm that felt almost natural. Grace started applying for jobs, attending interviews with a determination that inspired him. He taught Lily to ride a bike in the parking lot, running beside her as she wobbled and laughed, catching her when she fell. They cooked dinners together, the 3 of them crowded in his small kitchen, bumping elbows and sharing stories. Some nights, after Lily went to bed, he and Grace would sit on the couch, talking about everything and nothing. She told him about her dreams before everything fell apart, about wanting to return to nursing school, about the guilt of not being able to provide for her daughter. He told her about his own childhood, about the loneliness he'd never admitted to anyone, about how he'd stopped believing good things could happen to people like him. And every morning, he woke up to the smell of coffee and the sound of Lily's cartoons and felt something he hadn't felt in decades. He felt like he belonged somewhere. 3 months later, Grace landed a job at a medical clinic. She cried when she got the call, and the biker found himself crying too, proud in a way he'd never experienced. This woman who'd been at death's door was now rebuilding her life, piece by piece, with a strength that humbled him. Lily began to thrive in ways that amazed everyone who knew her story. At her new school, she made friends easily, brought home drawings for his fridge, and her teacher called to say how resilient she was. The trauma of those desperate days slowly faded, replaced by the safety of knowing she was protected, that her mom was healthy, that they finally had a home. The club brothers noticed the change in him, too. He smiled more, laughed easier, and showed up to rides with stories about Lily's adventures and Grace's progress. They teased him for going soft, but he could see the respect in their eyes. He'd saved a life. He'd built something real. But as Grace's paychecks started coming in, and she talked about saving for their own place, about not imposing forever, he felt a tightness in his chest. This was the plan, wasn't it? Get them back on their feet and let them move on. So why did the thought of them leaving feel like losing everything that mattered? One Saturday morning, Lily climbed into his lap. "When we move out, will I still see you?" "Of course, anytime." "I don't want to move out. I like living with you." Later, Grace sat across from him. "We need to talk about what this is. Lily's getting attached. I'm getting attached. If this is temporary, I need to prepare." "It's not obligation," he said. "Then what is it?" He paced. "I don't want you to leave. I just didn't think you'd want to stay. Not with someone like me." "Someone who risked everything for strangers? Who opened his home? You're exactly the father Lily needs." She stepped closer. "You're the man I never thought I'd find." He pulled her in. "I love you. Both of you. I know it's fast, but I love you." "I love you too." From the other room, "Are you guys gonna kiss? So, we're staying? Forever?" Grace nodded through tears. "Yeah, kiddo. Forever." Lily shrieked with joy as he spun her around, and in that moment he understood. Family wasn't about blood. It was about choosing each other every single day. That night, after Lily fell asleep, he and Grace sat in quiet closeness. "I never thought I'd feel safe again," she whispered. "Or that Lily would have this. A home, a father who loves her, a future." "I never thought I'd feel whole," he said. "I didn't know what I was missing until you." She looked up. "We saved each other, didn't we?" "Yeah," he said softly. "We did." The little girl who had once followed a stranger out of desperation had found a family. The mother who prayed her daughter would survive finally had an answer, and the biker who believed he was unworthy of love discovered the truth. Sometimes the smallest, most desperate cry leads to the biggest miracle. They weren't just survivors anymore. They were home. If this story moved you, please subscribe so we can continue sharing more like it. And let us know where you're watching from. It's always inspiring to see how far these stories travel.